My friend, former ambassador to Germany, former acting director of national intelligence, Richard Grenell. Good morning, Mr. Ambassador. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Hugh. Good morning from California.
Yesterday, I had a caller ask that I ask you first, how much fraud did you discover in Nevada in the 2016 election? And I will add to that, did you think you had an appropriate opportunity to present it to a court?
Yeah, I think we did have an appropriate opportunity, and that's the whole, system, right? We have a system where we get to petition courts and governments when we feel that we've been wronged, and we were able to do that. Obviously, we did not get the outcome that we desired. There was limited, I would say, research opportunity that we were given. Obviously, we don't have the ballots or the envelopes with the signatures on them, and our whole case was that the signature verification problem wasn't what it should have been. And that's an incredibly difficult process to go down the road and prove without having the access to the ballots and the envelopes, and we were never allowed access to that. So I think the little evidence that we found was not able to be investigated further to see if it would be larger evidence, to see if there was more of it. And that's, I think, the challenge going forward is we're going to have to fix voter rolls. Certainly we have to concentrate on having an ID to vote. And I believe, because we have a huge problem with this in California, is that you shouldn't send ballots to people that do not know those ballots are coming. We should have a system where individuals can vote by mail, but they tell the register of voters, the officials in the county, where they live so that the address is correct. I got kicked off Twitter for 2 days because I shared 2 ballots in California from a friend of mine whose parents had received ballots, but they had been dead for more than 10 years, both of them.
We received 2 ballots in California, the fetching Mrs. Hewitt and I, and we left California 4 years ago. So, Ambassador Grenell, I just want to ask you now about the impeachment. It's a fact now. What you thought about it yesterday doesn't matter. It's a fact now. But I believe Tom Cotton is right. The proceeding in the Senate is unconstitutional and that Republican senators ought not to participate. What do you think?
Well, certainly I think that we need time to be able to present evidence and to talk about exactly what the accusations are. And I just think that having a rushed system creates a political wedge, and that's not what we need right now in this country. We need to be able to come together, and I think this is a terrible start for the Biden administration to all of a sudden go after the president for a second time without some sort of a process to say, well, what did he say, and what is the evidence? We're finding new evidence as we speak about the Capitol attacks. And of course, we should start and finish every conversation that we have about the Capitol attacks to say this is outrageous. Every single person that committed violence should be found and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Now, Ambassador, I believe the president, once he retires and removes to Florida, ought to sue in Florida to enjoin the proceeding because it is unconstitutional. Do you believe he will do that, or do you believe he will let it run its course?
I think the answer is I don't know, but my hunch is that he'll let it run its course, that he will have left office. There's not much you can do about the Democrats who hate him and the processes that they constantly grab to go after him. I mean, let's remember from the very beginning of this administration, 68 Democrats refused to go to the inauguration. And they are the ones who, from the very beginning, refused to have a peaceful transition of power, a celebration of the peaceful transition of power. And it's now at the point where they are weaponizing parts of the Constitution, weaponizing the rule of law, weaponizing government agencies for political purposes, and we got to move away from that.
Well, that's why I want him to sue as a private citizen in Florida so that it's not heard by the D.C. Circuit, which was packed by Harry Reid, so that it is heard in a fair circuit, because I believe this is another scar on the Constitution, Rick. I think it's got to stop. And Tom Cotton is right. If a man leaves office or a woman leaves office, it's over.
Well, the whole idea of impeachment is to remove, right? It's not for a political weapon to go after your opponent's public relations standing, to go after their reputation, to ensure that they don't do something in the future or to penalize somebody in the future. It is designed by our forefathers to remove a president who is dangerous. And this is where the weaponization of all of the processes that the Democrats have has just gotten out of control. They're using it for political purposes. I mean, there are a whole bunch of people who believe that the courts have been way politicized, even on the local level.
Ric Grenell, keep coming.